Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Power of the Tribe Network and Rising Star Book Club. Well, this afternoon, I have Charlotte Allen with Rebel for Success, her book, and it's great. And we're going to get into it. And it's a must read. It's a well-read book, and you're going to cry. That first chapter is going to break you down. And it's so inspirational as well. So welcome, Charlotte. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Maureen. How are you today?
I'm doing, it's a fabulous Friday. So it's really, really, really good. Oh my God. So you guys are in Chicago. Did you just get a whirl of snow?
We got our first legitimate snow of the year, and we have about 8 inches, but we're getting more this weekend.
Okay.
My son is very excited.
All right. Yeah. You're holding up. You're going to make snowmen. Is that what's on the agenda?
Yes. Playing outside, doing anything. Yes.
Okay, so let's get into the book. So Rebel for Success, Lead, Grow, and Sell Fearlessly. And I love this rebel concept, but let's get into your history, and then we'll get into how the book develops. So originally, you were a respiratory therapist, right?
That's right. That's part of what happened in the beginning of the book. Yeah, I thought originally I was going to medical school. So respiratory therapy was a great way to kind of get into the industry. And it was a really well-paying job. So I loved doing that. Yeah.
Well, and then we can go back further. So you grew up on a farm, right? In Maryland?
I did. I grew up on a farm in Maryland. Absolutely. Yes. Very rural, very, very separate and isolated.
Did you say, oh, no, this is so not for me?
I don't mean to tell anybody not to live on a farm. I think farming is awesome. I just didn't see that as my ultimate place in the world. Right. So no, for me, it was time to go. Yeah.
Okay. And so you were trying to pay for college, get where you were going, and you used respiratory therapy, which is a big accomplishment just in itself, because that's actually your profession, really, and to parlay into medical school. And then I just wanted to get into this deeper. So what happened? Tell us where the pivot was and what caused that.
Right. So respiratory therapy was a great way in. My intention, if you hear my dog, I'm sorry. My intention was to use that to go into medical school. And I got to see the profession. I got to work in healthcare for a long time. It was right at the juncture where traditional medicine was moving to managed care. Managed care is what we have today. And so I got to see it from both sides. And honestly, it wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. It wasn't kind of the path I wanted to take, even though I have a lot of passion for healthcare and for medicine. Selma, I guess you want me to mention Selma. Selma's in the book, and yep, she was very instrumental in helping as a guide very early in my career. And so then I kind of switched out of that. Another passion of mine is food and fitness. So fitness wasn't making a paycheck for me. And so food science was where I ended up landing back to school, and worked for Kraft Foods for a number of years.
Okay. So let's go back to Selma a little bit, because we're watching the remake of The Stand in my house, right? And she kind of reminds me of a Mother Abigail, almost with her intuitiveness and just her. It's not saying much, but yet still significantly impacting who you are, and go in, because she changed your life, right?
She did. She was, you meet people and people have impacts on you, right? That happens throughout your life. But Thelma, the day I met her, I had no knowledge of her. She was a patient who was a regular. She had a respiratory illness that brought her to the hospital a lot. So many of us knew her well. And she had this knack for knowing so much about you before she even talked to you. So it was almost like she knew me better than me, and was able to help me become a better version of myself. And she didn't say much. She was a frail, tiny woman, but she was wise. She had to be the wisest person that I've ever met.
Incredible, right?
Mm, yeah,
And so
she was amazing.
she opens you up to this, not only to get in touch with how much more you get to share with the world, which is what you have done, to also just looking outward towards others.
Absolutely. She, when you're kind of focused on going, I'm going to get out, I do this hard path, I'm going to go to school. I was the first in my family to go to college, so when you're kind of focused on something that's that intense, that you have to overcome so much to be successful at, you don't always, I didn't, tend to open up enough to kind of connect with people, kind of connect with others, kind of give of myself. I was just so focused on this big, huge mountain I had to climb, right? So Selma was the one who said, no, there's another way. The other way is actually a lot more pleasant. The other way is a lot better for you. And it's really about opening up to people. It's really about sharing more of yourself. So she is the person who helped me see that.
And that's just, she was your first step in transformation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then in turn, because you went on to craft and did amazing and continued to allow others to open up and truly get in touch with who they are in a team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Kraft did a great job at the time, and I'm sure they're still doing a great job of really developing their people. And I found out at some point in time was I could spend my efforts best on helping them grow, develop into better versions of themselves versus spending my time on their projects and their details and who their email was for and what they were doing. So honestly, that conversion was really all about what Thelma taught me, right? It really is truly investing in people, making a connection, not because I want something, because I'm trying to help them achieve kind of where they're going. So,
and so
yeah.
in your book, Rebel for Success,
Rebel Success for Leaders.
For leaders,
Mm-hmm.
for leaders, and is truly that you start to change how companies not only view team, but also their culture and everyone being vested, not for what they get to do, but who they are and how that connects together. Can you lean in on that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So I'll say a little bit about Rebel and Success. So Rebel is really about that unconventional, that unique. It's about the creative and innovation part of it, right? And then Success, we all, I think, pretty much understand that. It is the finance, the metrics, it's meeting your KPIs, whatever you are and whatever you do. Most of the time, those two people don't talk to each other. Most of the time, those two people don't understand each other. And most of the time, it's very difficult for them to communicate. But at the end of the day, the person who is passionate and tied to their ideas and their innovations, that really stems from their rebel instincts, their rebelness, who they are. Because if they can give who they are to their job, they're going to be so much more connected. They're going to work. They're going to give more to you. They're going to develop, your organization beyond just punching a card, right? So I think that as soon as you take this idea of being very connected to the individual's development and figure out how to steer it a bit so that it gets more towards how do I connect them to what I want for my company, and put that together, you will have powerful, powerful change, very, very positive and vibrant environment in what you're doing.
And another word is vision.
Another word is vision. Yes, absolutely.
And within their vision, and it could be in their part of the company, that ownership of their vision to the greater good of the company, and of course the CEO, the rebel, and the leaders, their vision, and within this this again, this homogeneous, this homogeneous
Mm-hmm.
culture. Because again, it's developing a
Yeah.
culture that is where success really lies. And then you were also saying in there, so there was actually 4 types of rebels, and that you spoke about. Get into that a little bit more.
Right. So we developed 4 characteristics because there are, it's not just one type. So we have the innovator. The innovator is the one who loves to be able to create from scratch, to start with completely nothing and be able to pull something out of that. That's what the innovator is. And those are the people you need. If you're in an industry who needs to have really strong pipelines of innovation, if you are in a highly competitive environment, you need to have folks who can innovate for you. The explorer is the person, that's the second characteristic, is the person who goes out and looks. So one of my key principles, and I know that's something that we all had to think about this year, right? This past year, is bring somebody in who thinks differently than you, right? Because an explorer wants to know pros and cons. The explorer wants both sides. The explorer wants to understand why that person does not like my idea, right? Because they canvas, they go out and search for both things that are of interest and things that aren't, and then they pull that together. The third type is the invincible. The invincible person, who's the rebel, who's very successful, is the person who is told repeatedly something can't happen, right? Can't happen, you can't do it, it's not possible. That person is determined because they love solving the impossible problem. They will figure it out and they will be successful because they have passion that's connected to, they know the fact that's going to work, right? And then the fourth type is going to be the influencer. So if you've ever tried to sell a wild, crazy idea, right? Something that is unusual, you know that the folks who are going to give you money or support or connections or advice need you to be able to influence them, right? So your success at the end, right, ultimately after you've got this close, is whether or not it's going to get to market. And those people who can talk that, who can bridge both sides, are the influencers. Those are the people who help you, get that all the way.
And so we have different rebels in different situations. Yes. But the key to success is always, what is the key to success for any rebel?
The key to success is understanding who you are. The key is understanding your voice. If you skip that part, the rebel can't be successful, because the rebel is tied to their passions. They're tied to what makes them tick. So you have to have a connection to that, and then you have to be able to allow that to shine, or allow that to come out, manifest itself in your work. That is the successful rebel.
And yet in your work also includes those around you and those you bring to the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then part of that is going to be, again, how you bring in those other folks, right? The best team is a team of people who are so different, it is hard for them to figure out how to get along together, right? But you need to have somebody who can help them see the connection points. So there is, from a leader of an organization or a team standpoint, the person who can actually weave those threads of connection. Because without the connection, it's really hard for those folks, unless they kind of have a sense of where it's going, to be able to do that.
And you had an example in the book that there was a company that was they just kept losing new employees, and they just were not getting, that first crack at those really great candidates. They were not landing with people coming to work for them. What were they missing? What does that look like? And what did that show?
Yeah, so I talk a lot about hiring. I had an opportunity, we could say, to hire a large number of people during my time at Kraft in a very short period of time. So it's probably across 16 months, maybe 2 years. that I hired a large number of people. So I got to the point where I really created a unique skill for this. And what I found was that people were hiring to a spec on a job, right? And the spec on the job is really your cost of entry. It kind of gets your resume looked at, because if you don't have the background, then in the stuff I was hiring for, you probably don't get the conversation. But what I really wanted to see was how they addressed a problem, how they got to a solution, what their thought process was. If they were teachable on the content that they were missing, I needed to know that their attitude, how they approached it, was completely in the right place, because I don't really believe that you have a lot of success in changing someone's attitude if that's how they're going to come in.
Okay. And so now what made you write the book?
What made me write the book? It's kind of funny because I don't know that it's not like I grew up having a dream to write a book. I want to be able to bring my message to the most number of people that I can. So the book is a vehicle for that. The speaking that I do is a vehicle for that. The consulting I do is a vehicle for that. The book was fascinating to me because when I was much younger, I read a lot and I wrote a lot. And then I didn't do that for a very long time. I wrote presentations with bullet points, right? But I didn't really read or write in the same way. So when I finally got back to it, I'm like, wow, this is kind of fun. And I really distinctly wanted a book that that somebody who bought it and read it, they could find something in there that they could use, right? It was to the point where I presented the concepts and they could actually get something out of it. So the stories help understand, it helps connect the sort of the passionate rebel part of it. And then I helped hopefully them see how to make that successful in market. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it. My dad, I will tell a story. My dad got the book at Christmas, a hard copy. I gave it to my parents. And my dad told me the other day, he finished it. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, I can see totally you in this book. And I understand what you've done. My dad is, he was a farmer and he worked, as a maintenance worker on the highway system. So writing a book is not necessarily what he does, but he was like very impressed. So I was feeling pretty good about that.
Well, so the book is brilliant, and it's brilliant on the message and how it gets to lead people and to continue developing their skills. But it's beautiful because it's vulnerable, that you really do tell a story of who and your vision and your life. So you're authentic and vulnerable, and it makes the book really interesting and allows it to land. And that is from another woman I just had on, that is courage. You were very courageous in this book.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And so when you were stepping into this as again, okay, so which one of the rebels are you?
Right. So I tend to be high on, when I was in the book, closer to Selma, I was probably mostly an innovator. By the time that I had gotten to craft, I would say I was probably innovator explorer. I was always invincible from a kid. There was nothing anybody could tell me that I couldn't do that I wasn't going to do, right? The skill that I probably developed the most was the influencer skill. That was the skill that I brought higher up from craft.
And so with your the influencer, as you get to know people and operating systems and where they're coming from, that is an amazing skill to continue to allow you to land with others. And that's what you've got to develop.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then just to comment about the vulnerability part of it, I will remember saying to my book coach at the time, so what do people want me to write about? And she would talk to me about, so I would talk, she's like asking me questions. So I would talk about things that happened in my life. And she's like, oh, write about that. And I'm like, well, you want me to write about that? I didn't yet grasp it was kind of that additional layer of the onion, my additional evolution, right? I didn't grasp, to your point, that people wanted to see that personal vulnerability, and have that connected to the message that I wanted. I didn't see that at the time, but she would just say, okay, write more about this. I need more here. So I needed a guide, because again, I didn't know, but I don't know that I felt courageous. I just didn't understand how impactful that was. But I think now on the other side, I'm like, okay, I get it, understand it. And people really want that.
Okay, so yes, it is courageous, because you're able to allow others to see your authentic self and stand in that. But that's what makes the book brilliant.
Thank you.
And it is brilliant. So you're welcome. You're welcome. I really enjoyed the book. So who is this book for? And when they're, besides being a really great book to read, and being able to develop teams and also stand in your leadership as approaching with others and building systems. But who is this book for?
Okay, so if we talk about the niche, right, because everyone wants to know who's your niche, I would say my niche is probably folks who are leaders, call it CEOs, call it VPs of innovation, call it people who are in charge of driving the growth part of their company. And the industries that I would speak most to are going to be anything STEM related. So it's going to be obviously food, it could be IT, it could be healthcare, it could be ingredient space, it could be manufacturing, it could be equipment. Those industries require a pipeline of innovation, and those industries are in need of a different way of achieving theirs, because they spend a lot of money going out. They spend a lot of money on consultants, and they are overlooking the power that they have in their own employee set. So that's the core, that's the niche. I have heard from many people who are not in my core or my niche that, wow, that would be really good for fill in the blank, right? So Rebel Success itself has a message that goes beyond that particular group of people.
Well, it's in this sense, it absolutely does. And I was just for research, I was just listening to an interview with Richard Branson. And it may have been from a few years ago, but he was saying, you know what, when it comes to job creators and where our jobs are going to come from, I wanted to say, like 80% was going to be coming from entrepreneurs and coming from this new sectors we were moving forward. Entrepreneurs are rebels in just who that's who they are as they're striking. So within that, then I just felt putting that coat on and identifying, and then again, being able to bring team, because it's all about team, was just so beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think entrepreneurs, if you had to pick a opportunity for an entrepreneur, it's often that thing where they do so well on their own because they're so strong and they want to drive, that bringing the team part of it and figuring out how to it's kind of like how to let your baby grow without you, how to do that. So I think that entrepreneurs could definitely benefit from that perspective.
And I love that there was a piece in there where there was the delegation of the things that you're really meant to do as the entrepreneur versus the things that you can be capable of. And that delegation, you really do optimize what you're doing by what you were gifted with, and you allow others to contribute what they're gifted with. And that's growth that happens then. Super
important.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so we're going to do, and then we're going to go in what's happened since the book come out? How has COVID been? And I want to drop in on that respiratory therapy again, because with COVID, and so what has happened since the book come out, and have you been having fun?
Yeah. So, 2020 was obviously the year of COVID. That's the year my book came out. What happened was I had a book launch. It was great. I didn't get to do a big event. All those things I didn't get to do. I was already signed up to speak for a group of people, 500 women in the manufacturing scene. So I was still able to do that virtually. So that was still really exciting. I got to deliver the message. I'm going to get to use the video clips. So I think those things are all great. It's just not the same when you're not in front of people. It's not the same for groups, but I feel good about, learning this virtual speaking part of it. I'm going to be really excited when I can go to a signing or have an event. That's going to be fun. I am still developing content and how to connect the messages with the world. So that's still happening. It's just vastly different as it is for everyone. So instead of thinking about what I can't do, I try and think about what I can do. Right.
And again, that's what innovators and rebels do.
Yeah.
So, okay. So 2021, we're here, new year. And how can people get in touch with you? Anything that's coming down that you're looking to promote? What's happening for 2021?
Right. So you can search for me many places. rebelsuccessforleaders.com is the website. Facebook page is the same, Rebel Success for Leaders. LinkedIn page, the same, Rebel Success for Leaders. So that's how you can find me. And what is coming is going to be kind of exciting. I'm going to launch a group coaching program soon. That is as a result of the speaking engagement that I had and the response of, wow, again, we really want to do this together. We really want to get the inputs from other people. So I was really excited about that. My dog is back by the light.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there in a second.
I know. I just don't want her to trip over the light. Come here. Okay, I guess she's going to lay there. And I'm really excited about being able to come out with that. I am excited to be able to get in front of folks. I just want to speak more. That's really what this year's about.
Okay, good. And you get to. So the coaching program, though. Okay, so the coaching program is it's aspects of the book, and where do they get to go, and what does this look like? So this way, my audience can know, lean into this.
So it will be obviously virtual because we can't start anywhere than virtual. It will be a small group of folks. We will be doing this across probably a 12-month period. And the group will be able to cross those aspects of Rebel Success, those teaching principles that I used, and how to actually put that in place for their growth, right? Wherever they are. I always say wherever you are and wherever you want to go, right? And having the inputs of the rest of the group is going to be super important, in addition to obviously guidance from me. So I'm excited. I'm excited about where that's going.
I love the format, and obviously the group is a natural extension or example of what the book is about in developing that. So in that productivity, in that group, they'll be able to transfer those skills out to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Now, so we have, we were in COVID, and my audience wants to always know more about the authors, because you are your book, and what you do, and so we've been bringing on authors with their pets, because we love our pets, and they're just that gift that we got during COVID that we can now really truly continue to love. And so, who do we have with us today?
Okay, let me get her off the light switch. Come here. Come. Okay, yeah. So now she's off the light. Okay, so now we gotta get her up here. Come here. Yeah, stand up. Come on, up here. Come on.
Now, do you wish you had a Chihuahua now for this thing?
for this, come on, stand up. Come on, get up here. Okay, now I'm gonna have to pick her up. I don't know what she's doing. Okay, there we are. This is Snickers. Snickers is a Brittany. She was just outside playing with my son in the snow.
Okay.
On his school break. So it's probably, here, get up here. That's probably why she's a wee bit tired. But so Snickers and I have been having a blast. She and I run all the time. We ran today in the snow. So
That's a lot of fun. So what's the history of Snickers? How old is she? When did you get her? And had you fall in love?
5. She's 5. We had a dog before her that we had. My son came along when the dog was 7. So the dog passed, and he said he wasn't ever going to go out of the house again without a dog. So we waited. He's very connected to the dog. So we waited a little while. We found her, and she's been with us ever since. She's high energy. She keeps him on his toes. Again, she and I run in the summer. We run a few days a week. This is the first year I decided I was going to learn how to run on the snow. So we were out. She loves it. She is the best running partner ever because she will always go, and she will always go faster than me and further than me. So if you're thinking about motivation, get a dog who wants to run.
She's your team.
Yeah.
She's your team.
She's amazing.
And so with snow, I mean, running on the beach is obviously better than because it has that. Is snow the same concept that it gives you extra?
It's harder for sure. My challenge is you've got to have those things on the bottom of your shoes to keep from slipping. So I use this product called Yak Tracks. And so I run with those, and that helps because there's often ice underneath the snow. So that it's an amazing workout. I end up going less far than I used to before. So, but I'm going to be happy when it's not snowing. It's just a little nicer when I'm just on the gravel path. So.
Okay, good. So I'm hoping that we can look on your website and see more pictures from this weekend when you guys are out for more snow.
Yeah, either that or me doing yoga. My yoga thing is I want to be able to do a handstand unsupported. So.
Okay. Good. I love it. All right.
Handstand, yeah.
So thank you for coming on again, Charlotte Allen, and it is Rebel for Success for Leaders. Right.
Rebel Success for Leaders.
Rebel Success for Leaders. Lead, grow, and self fearlessly. And again, It is Rebel for Success. Is the website, the Facebook group, everything. And and again, check out the coaching program. This is going to be a great opportunity because
it's going to be a great opportunity.
You have a container you might not necessarily have been in if not for COVID. So it's going to be a really amazing, unique, and possibly limited opportunity to get that.
It'll definitely be limited, yeah.
All right. Again, congratulations on the book, and looking forward to meeting when we're out. And again, get the book. It really is. And again, as an entrepreneur, it really landed with me because most entrepreneurs are rebels, and you get to start seeing framework of how you get to build your teams as you then lean into your success. Thank you for coming on today, and Snickers.
Thank you.
And I look forward to 2021 and seeing what happens.
Yes, me too. I'm excited.
Bye.